there.
We're here for the fun.
Jesus, Jamie.
We're here for the smarts. Jam. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about
board games
and
board gamey things.
Exactly, and about having really cool sweaters. Our sweater game is the strongest in the industry. There, I said it.
Do you think?
I think.
I do.
I do. We also match a lot because we're really cool. Anyways, we are back again today with another top 10 video. It's been approximately, I have a hard time saying that word. You say
You've
it.
been struggling a lot
Thank
enunciating words.
I've been struggling a lot in general, that's true. It's been about 1 year-ish since we did our top 10 two-player games. So it's time to do a new one because we have played a lot of new games since then and some of them has snuck onto our list. Now this is not a true top 10, as in we are not counting down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we just picked 10 games because we did it together because we together make up 2 people.
Yep.
Right, Jeff?
Yep.
There's too many toys on the table. So if Jeff appears to be distracted and playing with things, it is.
Do you remember that anxiety video?
Yeah. Usually there's not this much stuff on the table for him to be like, what is this? Okay, so we have 10 games that are our current favorites to play at 2 players. Now, these are not only 2-player only games,
no.
Okay?
But we would say that these games we prefer to play at 2 players.
Exactly. We prefer to play them at 2 players, and I don't know if you all knew this, but it's our list.
Yeah.
And we probably haven't played every single game in the world, and
Yeah.
maybe we have played the games that you love and we don't like them as much. So
I'll
it's okay if
I'll know
favorite.
if you skipped this part because I'm going to say it.
I'll say go back to the beginning.
I don't need the aggression in the comments telling us the game you like we didn't pick.
Yeah. We don't
It's fine that you like it.
We love that you love it.
I love that you love it.
That's amazing.
We don't love it, that's fine.
So, we do have a couple honorable mentions.
Of course we do.
Of course we do, because like literally we had to cut this list down from 20. It's crazy. One of those honorable mentions is going to be Operation Barclay. Mm-hmm. Now we really enjoyed this game. It's a 2-player only game. However, we've only played the prototype of it.
It's not out yet.
And it's not out yet for everyone, but we really enjoyed our time with it. We had to ship off our copies, so we haven't gotten to play it again. Yeah. But I do think with more plays, this one would definitely eke its way onto this list.
Poker handy mechanism
board game
with deduction.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's so good. So that one is an honorable mention. Another honorable mention, Jeff.
Jamie's not played this one, so that's why it's on the honorable mention list. But I do think she's played a similar game in this series of games.
Yes.
I'm picking Caesar. Jamie's played Blitzkrieg, and we haven't played Dogfight.
No.
But I think Caesar is the best of the 3 just because it's a little bit more simplistic, and I think Jamie would agree with me if she had played it.
I haven't.
Caesar is a area control game where you're basically just placing out your tiles, your circular discs, and have a varying degree of power. Mm-hmm. And once areas are filled with your discs and other players' discs, you determine that area's strength of who wins it, and they get a bonus, and basically you're just trying to get rid of all your discs first.
Is this a mechanic in it?
Should be.
Caesar.
Might be.
Dead Alive. Dead Alive, great movie. 10 out of 10, would recommend. Last honorable mention is going to be Villainous. We heavily considered putting this on the list because we prefer Villainous at 2. However, there is a big caveat now because there are so many characters that you just can't play at 2. Like you can, but you shouldn't play at 2 because they don't play well at 2, and it has, I guess, changed the way we view it as a 2-player game.
It might be interesting at some point to do a video talking about each villain. Mm-hmm. And what player count.
Would you all enjoy that? I know you would.
I think most of them are good at 2-player.
Yeah.
But as you go along in some of the versions of Villainous,
less.
Some of them don't play super well.
That's true.
Because they just don't work if you're fated constantly.
Lots of them looking at you.
In a 2-player game, you're going to be fated like every third turn, essentially.
Yep.
I mean, could be almost every other turn, but anyway.
Let's get into the top 10. Once again, these are in no particular order. These are just 10 of our favorite games to play at 2 players, and we are going to start off with a bang. We're actually going to start off with a boop.
We are starting off with a boop.
Because the first game on this list is obviously going to be Boop, which has just taken over the 2-player world by storm. Jeffrey, tell the people about Boop.
Abstract chess-like game where you are trying to get 3 cats in a row. I'm just talking base Boop here.
We're talking base
There's
Boop.
Boop now, and then Boop the Halls as well, which adds a little bit of extra stuff to it. But base Boop, you are trying to get 3 of your cats in a row. How that is difficult is they boop each other. So cats boop cats and kittens, kittens boop other kittens. But essentially when you place your cat or your kitten down, it's going to move everything 1 adjacent space away depending on that hierarchy. And again, once you get 3 kittens in a row, they'll upgrade to 3 cats. If you get 3 cats in a row, you win the game.
Yes.
That's effectively it. And the theme is that your cat's on a bed and you're booping each other off the bed. Boop. And the box is a bed.
Yeah. The box turns into the board.
The box goes upside down and you put a little blanket on top, like and that's your board.
It's amazing. Yeah. Listen, this is an abstract strategy game that in theory could have had any theme. But you want to know what they did? They put
made
cats.
it friggin' cute.
They put cats on it. Everybody loves cats. And now they have these Squishmallows, which I think is also awesome. Boop is great. You could play it on BGA if you'd like to try it out. The different variations of Boop add slight changes to the rules. We haven't played... Have you played Boop?
No.
We haven't. We own all of them. We've only played the original, primarily because the original is the only one that's on BGA. But there's lots of varieties, so just pick a Boop that you enjoy, pick a holiday, do whatever you like, pick a cat, and have a good time. This is a great game.
It is.
Yep. I'm very bad at it, though. Just FYI.
You are.
All right, the next game on the list is one of those new additions that we were talking about because we just discovered this game within the past year, and that is the Grand Austria Hotel. Now, this is not a 2-player only game. This is an older game that we have discovered, and we ended up trying it because the Brothers Murph love this game, and we love the Brothers Murph, and that just is what it is. So I'm like, I want to try the games that they like.
Their game taste is a bit suspect at times, but...
Not with this one. This was a good choice.
This was a good one.
So in Grand Austria Hotel, you are running a hotel, and basically you are going to be having...
Is it in Austria?
It might be. It's very grand.
Is it grand?
It's on the scale, it's grand, I would say, for sure.
Got it.
You are running a hotel, and basically you are having guests come to your hotel, so you need to make sure that there are rooms ready for them. You are also going to be feeding them at the restaurant, and you're doing that by providing them with different things like cakes and wine and stuff like that. But the reason why I find this game so cool is because the action selection is done through dice in a really unique way that I haven't seen another game do it this way. So basically you roll the dice, the numbers are assigned to specific actions, and then depending on how many dice are in that pool for that action determines the strength of the action that you get, and you are going to be drafting dice, taking actions, and trying to score as many points as possible. This is a really tight game. It's a really, it's one of those games where you want to do more than you're able to do. There are going to be so many different things that you have to pay attention to because you could potentially be getting negative points if you're not far along on certain tracks. And we have played this at higher than 2-player count, but I find it plays best at 2 because it's so snappy.
Yeah, it hits the perfect note of time, like length of play at 2-player.
Exactly.
It doesn't overstay its welcome at all at 2-player. It's very quick, it's very combo-y, it's very satisfying, quick play of a game.
Yeah, we love it. It is a very fantastic discovery for us from this past year.
Yep. Next up is comes with a quick caveat. I do work for this company, but I've loved this game long before I started working for them, so...
If you've been watching the channel for a while,
get out of here with your business.
Yeah, get out of here with your business.
And that is Dice Throne. Dice Throne is a battle game. Battle Yahtzee is how we tend to always describe this game. Yeah. You are going to be rolling dice and manipulating those dice to take actions or inflict damage against your opponent. If you roll Yahtzee, it's your ultimate ability, which is crazy rare to get, but your strongest ability. There's a bunch of different characters that you can play. There's fantasy trope, there's eclectic, there's Marvel heroes, and awesome stuff still coming down the pipeline. It is an incredible intro game to people that have never played games before. I've seen it firsthand at conventions and now being part of the team. It is a perfect 1v1 experience.
Yeah, you can play it at more than 2 players, but it is our preference to play it at 2.
Yeah, there's many ways, variants that the team has come up with in order to make this game viable at higher player counts, but yes, I very much enjoy the dueling aspect of this game when you're playing it 1v1 and just battling back and forth.
Exactly. And we've done many Dice Throne tournaments, which you can go back and watch if you like to watch us go head to head. I personally think...
Which
you should watch last
Which I did before I worked for the team. So there's proof.
We've literally loved this game
forever. There's proof out there, peeps.
And I don't work for them, and I freaking love this game. Yep. So there you go. But this, to me, like... Dice Throne is a lifestyle game. I find there's so many people that, like in our community and other communities, we've seen it during Foster the Gameathon, where people, that they play Dice Throne the whole time. And so it's such a fun...
It has a very intense following.
Yes, and it's just fun. Like, it's fun to, like, beat up on each other. Like, we love games that have a lot of conflict. Yeah. Dice Throne has a lot of conflict.
And finding characters that you enjoy how they play. And how their mechanisms do damage and how their cards interact with their board is really interesting, because like some characters I don't really mesh with, but Jamie does, and it's really cool to discover that as you play.
Exactly. Okay, the next game on our list is brand spanking
hot
new.
Off the press.
Hot off the press, and I know what you're all going to say.
You called it the new!
This is recency bias, and I don't like it. I think that you should...
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I think you should only like a game if you've played it 1 billion times.
Grumble, grumble. You shouldn't like the games you like.
That game is Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. We have just recently discovered this game, and it was an instant love. Like, an instant. It was one of those games where you read the rule book and you're like, I already love this. Yep. I already love it. I'm just going to call it Pagan. In Pagan, one player is playing as the witch, and the other player is playing as the witch hunter. The witch's goal is to trick the witch hunter. Okay, there's a bit of a deduction here. The witch is secretly one of the villagers in the village, and the witch hunter is trying to figure out who that is. Now, the witch, in order to win, has to perform a ritual on that villager before the witch hunter figures out who they are. There is card play. The characters are asymmetrical because the witch and the witch hunter have different types of cards and different actions that they can do. And so essentially on your turn, you've got 3 action pawns, and you get to choose the actions that you want to do, whether it's playing cards, whether it's visiting a villager, or doing one of your special actions. This is a 1v1 deduction style game, and it is so good. It's beautiful. Yep. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Like, it plays relatively quickly. It is a 2-player only game, and there's a ton of variability and variety in it because there's so many cards and there's different like ways that you can play, and we just love it. And this is going to be like a forever love. And I love the theme. I love witches. Yeah,
it's good. Next up on the list is finally a great intro to coin games. Yes. And that is Jest of Robin Hood from GMT. Wow. Jest of Robin Hood is a 1v1 game within the Irregular series, or Irregular Conflict series from GMT, that's taking a lot of the DNA from coin games. It's not a coin game by definition, but it's taking a lot of the systems that you find in a coin game and applying them to the 1v1 Jest of Robin Hood game. So you have a similar event deck where you're going to be revealing cards and activating those events. You're going to be robbing travelers. You're going to be collecting coins, and you each have your asymmetrical abilities that you're going to be doing on your player board. One person is playing as Robin Hood and his merry men. One person is playing as the Sheriff of Nottingham, and you are effectively trying to turn the land from justice to order. So justice being the Robin Hood side, order being the Sheriff of Nottingham. And you're doing that through card play and moving your pawns around and all of these things. It is so good, and I'm so happy because it is a relatively straightforward teach. There's not a lot of overly complicated actions and nuance in this game, which I do think Coin has some
a lot of
issues with.
A lot of nuance.
But Justice of Robin Hood is a really good way for people, I think, to experience this kind of realm of game without being overwhelmed.
100%. And big bonus, it is now on Board Game Arena.
And it is a really, really good implementation.
Really good implementation. So if you have been curious about coin games...
Is it in alpha, though?
It's in alpha.
Is it?
Yes. So forget what I said, but find a friend in alpha.
Yeah.
Hey, guess what?
All you need to know is someone that has alpha access.
Join our Discord. We have an alpha game request channel. So if you are interested in playing it, you can throw it up in there and be like, hey, does anybody with alpha want to play this with me? And I guarantee you somebody will jump on that. But it is amazing. Everybody loves Robin Hood.
Yeah,
everyone loves Robin Hood. It is
really, really, really good.
So good. So the next game on our list should come as no surprise. This is an always favorite for us.
Do we talk about this game in every
movie that we do? We talk about this game, and that is Undaunted. Undaunted blank. Pick your poison, okay? We have played Undaunted Normandy. We have played Battle of Britain. We have played 2200 Callisto. We have played Stalingrad. We own North Africa, but we haven't played it yet, but hope to soon. Yeah. So we have a lot of experience living in the Undaunted world. Okay, so Undaunted is a war-themed game until 2200 Callisto. Then it's war in space. But most of them are based on historical wars that have happened. Yeah. So in this game, you are going to play as one of the sides, and I'm just going to use Normandy just for simplicity's sake. Sure. It is, in theory, it is my favorite of all of them. You can't decide, can you? I also do really enjoy Battle of Britain.
Battle of Britain. The more I play Battle of Britain, the more I am like, I think I like this one most.
Right? So
they're all good,
They're all good. In Normandy, let's just use it as an example. Somebody is going to be playing as the Axis and somebody is going to be playing as the Allies, and you are going to be playing through a series of scenarios that are actually scenarios that happened during the war.
Yeah.
Right? So that means that somebody is going to have some kind of an advantage because in history they had an advantage or potentially they won that battle of the war, and you are going to have an objective that you are trying to reach, and the other player is going to have an objective, and whoever gets it first is going to win that scenario. You're doing that by playing out cards that are going to allow you to activate your different troops on the board. You're going to be able to, as the scenarios go on, get different troops that you can play with. You are also there's a bit of a deck building element because you're adding cards into your deck that you will be able to activate more troops and do different things and all of this stuff. That's basically it. The system, it's smooth. It's so good. It is not an overly complex system. Where the complexity comes in this game is in the strategy, because you need to figure out how to outwit your opponent. As you go through the different types, you are adding in new things. Like, as an example, in Battle of Britain, you have airplanes and different things like that, which move in a different way because airplanes they can't turn as well as a human can. Did you know that about airplanes? Yeah. Anyways.
And bombers turn slower than fighters.
This is true. All of these things are true. In the new one, Callisto, 2200 Callisto, it is set in space. Somebody has mechs. Yeah. And that's really cool, okay? Undaunted is amazing. If you have been shying away from the war theme, which we totally understand, it can be difficult to play as the Axis side. At times. But
hey, good job.
Thank you. But in Callisto, it is kind of like a made-up fantasy sci-fi space
It's two factions that are fighting over territory effectively.
Exactly. It takes out the war theme. So if you've been interested in trying it, but you've been shying away from the war theme, I definitely recommend that you do try 2200 Callisto because it's giving you the system without the war.
Correct.
Basically. But that is Undaunted. We love it. We will always love it. We will buy and play every single one that ever comes out.
That is correct.
We have never not enjoyed it, and we are only one scenario into Stalingrad, but that is one that's a campaign version.
Yeah. Next up on our list is one of my favorite games of all time, and that is Res Arcana. Res Arcana is another game that can be played at 3-player or 4-player, but I think shines at 2-player. Res Arcana is a engine builder with a kind of like, hey, this is what you have, and you need to make it work. There's variants of this game that you can play, which is a draft variant. I suggest not playing that variant. Every person that I've talked to that says they don't like Res Arcana has played the draft variant, and in my opinion, this game shines when you don't use that variant. You're basically dealt out the cards that you have for that whole game, and you've got to make it all work. You got to figure out your own little puzzle and make it work and race to 10 points. You're doing that by playing out cards that represent artifacts, and those artifacts, in most instances, will give you resources that you then spend to get more artifacts or places of power, which are your ultimate way of scoring victory points. And that's the game. You're just comboing your cards, playing cards, attacking your opponents. If you have dragons, there's expansions that add different ways to do things in this game. Yep. But ultimately what you're doing is comboing your cards to get more resources, to put more cards out, and to get places of power, and then to activate those places of power in order to score victory points.
Yeah.
And it is a race to 10. The first person to 10 wins.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about the 2-player, like playing this at 2 players. It feels more strategic to me.
It's faster.
That's for sure.
And
because you've got to be quick. You got to be like, I gotta get there.
I think the real key to this game later on, in my opinion, in the base game, the dragons are the primary way you can get in someone's way. But I find that they don't really do anything as the game goes on, because in fact, they're expensive, and effectively, at some point, you're gonna have so many resources that a dragon taking 2 resources from you just doesn't really impact you at all. But later on, there's other ways that this game changes that interaction. But really what I love the most about it is, oh my goodness, okay, here's my 8 or whatever cards. How can I link these things together? How does this card interact with this card and vice versa, so that I can score 10 points as quickly as possible? And it's really cool when you play people that are like kind of equal strategy levels, because then it's really important that you figure out the optimal play every time you're playing a card. Yeah. It's such a fun puzzle. Another game that's on BGA for people to try out for free, but this game will probably always be in my top 10. Yeah. I love it. Every time I play it, I do not get sick of it. It's incredible. And they just announced a new
Res Arcana Duo.
Res Arcana Duo.
A 2-player version.
So it's more. I think what it's engaged with is that it's more portable to carry around and play it.
Because it's just 2.
Yeah. And they've added some expansions that you can use with the game, which is why I'm the most excited for it. And they've added a new variant to play.
The next one on our list is always on our list for 2-player games, and that is Lord of the Rings, The Confrontation. And exciting news is that somebody, Galaxy something, are going to be putting out a new version of this game. It's like an anniversary edition. It's a big box, although I'm sure you could just get the regular. We don't know much about it. We're going to get it for sure. Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation. It's been out of print for a very long time, and that's why that announcement is very exciting. But this is a 1v1 game a la Stratego, but Lord of the Rings theme. So one person is playing as Frodo in the gang, and the other person is playing as Sauron in the gang. And Frodo is just trying to get that ring to Mount Doom because he's got to chuck it in there. He's got one job. Frodo, get to Mount Doom, chuck it in. While Sauron has to get 3 of his minions to Hobbiton? To the Shire. Hobbiton, essentially. To the Shire, or...
Find Frodo.
Find Frodo, get rid of Frodo. toss him in Mount Doom. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, what's really interesting about this game is that the characters that you're moving are all hidden from your opponent, and they're only revealed when you go into the same space. And when you go into the same space, that means it's time. I almost said it's time to get it on, but that's not what I meant. It's time to fight. So you're going to turn your characters, and then you are going to be playing out a card from your hand that is going to affect the battle in some way.
They all have their own inherent power, and then the cards add.
Yes, and they all have some kind of an ability that could potentially affect what happens. So, like, you might be fighting someone, and their power is that you just die, or that you both die.
Like, I think Gimli defeats the orcs immediately.
Yeah. And the Nazgul defeats Legolas or something like that.
Legolas defeats
the Nazgul.
Or the Knight Rider or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, this game is bushels of fun. Let me tell you, I'm terrible at it. I do think that Sauron is more powerful than Frodo and the gang. Thematically, it also makes sense. In the version we have, at least, and I think in all of them, there's like an alternate play as well, where the cards all flip and there's different characters.
Two different variants,
yeah, it is amazing. So whenever this becomes available again...
I'm excited for people to be able to...
I'm so excited for more people to play it, because we have been lovers of this game forever. Forever. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm glad I have like my OG copy, but
we'll never get rid of that.
I'm so happy that people are just going to get to experience this.
Samesies.
Second to last, we have a bigger experience game, and that is Star Wars Rebellion.
Some may call it epic.
We've chatted about Star Wars Rebellion. This is a game that we just recently got to experience last year for the first time, after being scared of it forever. Star Wars Rebellion is Star Wars in a box. You are 1v1. One person is playing as the Empire and trying to find the Rebel base.
Dark side.
One person is playing as the Rebellion, and they are trying to just survive for X period of time. They're trying to hide their base, and it is a very thematic game to the Star Wars universe. There are cards that reflect what happens in the story, and there's apparently a really good expansion that...
We bought it. We have
improves combat a little bit. I love it. It's a game that I think is a little bit tougher to table because of the time it takes to play. It is about a 3+ hour game, but it does not feel like that. I remember we played this and I was like, oh my god, we're done already? And we've been playing for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
It's so good. If you love Star Wars, highly recommend it. It has a lot going on, but I don't think it's overly complicated to learn. Highly recommend you get it to the table if you have it and you've been scared of it like we were, because I regret not playing it earlier.
Yeah, it's so good. Even as someone like, I have seen all the Star Wars movies, I enjoy Star Wars, but I am not a Jedi like this guy. He's got a lightsaber.
I am officially a Jedi.
Officially a Jedi. I still loved it because it's got that deduction element that we love, and it's just so fun, that 1v1. It's almost like a huge scale of pagan.
Yep.
Right?
Like, to give you an example of how thematic it can be, like, Jamie was playing as the Empire, I was the Rebellion, and I was moving Princess Leia around, and Jamie found Princess Leia, interrogated Princess Leia, and found out where the Rebel base was. Like, just... pretty much just like in the movie, even though Leia doesn't give away the location. But then the Rebels can move their base around effectively. So it's,
Number 10, the last one on our list, is going to be Votes for Women, and this is from Fort Circle Games. We kind of went back and forth between Shores of Tripoli and Votes for Women, but we have played together Votes for Women more. But just so you know, Shores of Tripoli, also from Fort Circle Games, is awesome.
I think we've talked a ton about Shores of Tripoli.
Yeah. You've just played it so much more than I have, because you played with Kevin.
Yeah, well...
You got crushed by Kevin over and over and over and over and over.
I don't know if I'm playing. I'm just watching.
There for the ride.
Well, it was, Votes for Women. It's not Shores of Tripoli.
Oh.
No, he crushes me in Votes for Women.
Ah, okay.
I'm pretty sure he did also crush me in Shores.
Right.
But... no, he crushed me in Votes.
Interesting.
Over and over and over and over again.
In Votes for Women, one person is playing as the women. You're trying to get the right to vote. You are kind of campaigning all over the U.S., and then the other side is playing as the bad guys. Okay? the men who don't want the women to vote.
Patriarchy.
Basically, the patriarchy. This is an event-driven game. You're going to be playing out different cards, trying to sway different states to your side, and you're going to be doing that by
You're lobbying the government.
Exactly. So there's a little bit of an area control aspect to this game along with that, but there is a trigger that will happen in this game if you don't outright win, where you have to go from state to state and do a vote. And it is like
spicy.
It's a nail biter, let me tell you. It is very difficult to win as the women.
Yep.
Thematic, I suppose, but this game is awesome, and not enough people talk about it, not enough people play it. I know it's like possibly the theme, but to be fair, like, we're not American. We don't know much about American history and the suffrage, and I mean, obviously we know about the suffrage because that's, you know, a big part of history, but so even if you're not into like the theme, it's just a really fun gameplay, and it's a really good kind of tug of war style game where you feel bad if you win as the bad guys and you feel awesome if you win as the women.
I think it's another good one to get into event-driven card play.
Totally. Yeah, the rule set is not as intense as some
I think it's called like a CDG, which is like a card-driven game. Short Search will be another one, but effectively playing cards out for events or using them for actions.
Yeah.
Effectively, and deciding when it's important to do those separate things, I think is a really good way to kind of get into those types of games.
We got to replay it again with Tori, who is the designer kind of leading the game at Circle DC, and it was awesome. And I just would love to see more people playing it because I just think it's an awesome, awesome game. How many times can I say awesome? Awesome, 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 awesome. So many. Those are 10 of our favorite two-player games, and we'd love to know in the comments below what are some of your favorite two-player games. Please let us know. Just a reminder, if we didn't mention your favorite game, we probably do love it. Maybe we don't, but we most likely do because it's us.
I'm happy you love it, though.
I'm so happy you love it, but these are the ones that we have picked for our list. So that is everything that we have for you today. Don't forget, my friends, about the Foster the Meeple Kickstarter is happening right now. We're going to have links and everything in the description below, so if you'd like to go check it out and see what all the cool, fun perks are, you can do that now, and it's going to be open until September 22nd. So don't miss out, okay? Just don't miss out if you want. You don't have to, but if you want, don't miss out. If you're interested in buying board games like any of the many that we talked about today, you should first start by checking your friend local gaming store. And for us, that is
the Boardroom Game Cafe.
Heck yeah, it is. And if you like what you see,
please subscribe.
We hope to see you again soon. And now we say goodbye. Goodbye.
Later days.
You smell like energy.
I don't feel it.
How many energy drinks have you had today?
2.
It's not as bad as I thought it was.
Agree.
I should have worn that one.
I do agree.
I do agree. Like with what? Approximately.
There were some other words you were saying, like it's like pickle something. I don't know. You were saying something the other day. I was like, how are you struggling to say that word?
I don't know. Now this is. It's true though, isn't it?
It does help. As long as I'm not looking at it. Like, if I'm down here doing it, it's fine.
It's fine.
But the problem is sometimes I'm like, ooh, let me line up the cubes.
Cubes, exactly. That's fine. Or if we forgot about it, that's also possible.
If you say something like that, I know you just skipped and watched the
games. You little skipper.
Yeah.
Okay?
Those people know who they are.
You know who they are.
Skippers know who they are.
Skippers know.
What movie's that?
That's the one we just watched. The zombie movie. With New Zealand, Paquita.
Who?
I Kick Ass for the Lord.
Oh.
Steve Jackson, we just watched it. What the heck do you have on your eye? Like, oh, maybe dirt. Jeff's been out working all day in the yard. With dirt on his face.
Building a fence.
Building a fence. All right. Alrighty. Where am I? There I am.
Sure.
Can I have a little sip of that, actually, Jeff? I could use a little bit of spice in my life.
Spice up your life.
It makes every inch of my mouth make this face. Blech. Okay. Yuck.